Hey, what's up, guys? Kayak Mike here. This is the Kerr Lake recap, the Not Marine National Trail stop number 5 recap at Kerr Lake. Very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to give a shout out to the sponsors who are making this year possible, specifically the sponsors of this event. A few minutes ago, we just posted the Monster Rod Holder Mystery Fish to the YouTube page, the Online Catfishing Tournaments YouTube page. What they do is every tournament, we have a random drawing, and you have a chance at winning $150 back as long as you submitted a fish and you didn't cash in the event. Mark Bennett won that, and he actually won $200 because he updated his Facebook banner to the banner for our scene. If you take our tournament banner and make it your social media banner, we give you an additional $50 at payouts if you pay out. Moving on to the next sponsor. Oh, there's the YouTube channel, and then the video's right there. Moving on to the next sponsor, Carolina Lake Weights was our initial big fish sponsor. They threw $200 into this event. Their code, let me grab it here. Their code is Carolina Lake Weights, Kayak 10 for 10% off of Carolina Lake Weights. A lot of dragging happened this past weekend or the weekend prior at Kerr Lake. So anything you need dragging related, if you're fishing low current areas or, no current areas like lakes, dragging is a very viable option. Dragging is what won this event too, I believe. If you go to Kayak Catfish's YouTube channel and check that out. Next sponsor was Andrew. Andrew's actually in this live with us. He is the owner of Worth Security. I don't have much to say other than their security company. Andrew, I will, when we pull you in, you can put your company on blast a little better. But from the research I did, it looks like just standard stuff, put up some cameras, etc. But I'll let you go more into detail on that. Andrew tossed in $300 into this tournament, and that actually was to get me to toss in $300 more, which I'll explain here in a second. Mad Cat's tossing $500 to be a co-sponsor of the event. The Mad Cat's code is, let me pull it up here. If you buy stuff from Mad Cat's, use OCT10. Mad Cat's, Matt Knight has been a really cool guy with me, and he's hooked me up with some things. I've hooked up some other anglers with some things. Next, we got Minotaur Hooks. They were our title sponsor at a grand. Minotaur Hooks. There we go. JJ, I tossed you in the stream, but I muted you. Minotaur Hooks tossed in a grand. Randy was at the tournament check-in both days. A great guy. He plans on coming back next year as well, being one of our sponsors when we're doing the trail again. Couldn't be more thankful for him. I've been running his hooks. I've been having a lot of success with his hooks. I've also been running the Mad Cat's hooks. Any of these sponsors you guys see, I typically burn their equipment. I abuse it. So if I'm using it and it's working, anyone can use it and make it work as well. My favorite hooks currently are the She Devils. And I love how he names I love the names and the logos of his hooks too. And then he put a grand in. Last but not least, I was also a sponsor of the event. I told the sponsors I would match up to $2,000 of sponsor entry money, which brought us to $4,000. We were at 1,700 right before Andrew threw in 300, which forced me to bump mine up to 2,000. So those are the sponsors. If you give me a sub, that'd be cool. And yeah, let's go right into it with the anglers here and just start asking some questions. Different layout. Let's do a different layout and let's unmute everybody. All right. The only person I couldn't unmute was you, Sean. Because you muted yourself. All right, there we go. So these are 4 of our anglers. Actually, I'm going to pull some up really quick. This is going to be really cool. Let's go to the tournament home, or let's go to our page. A lot of the anglers we have on here are studs. Sean cashed in this event. Let me zoom in here. This is our overall point race for the trail. Your best 4 events is what counts out of a total of 6. Sean Fitzgibbons cashed in this last event. Ryan cashed. Andrew did not cash, but Andrew is in a position to clinch the overall point race if he wins M big fishes. And we have JJ, who can also win the points race if he wins and gets big fish at Rising Sun. And he's the one who won this past event. So we have a lot of heavy hitters on the stream tonight. But let's go on. First things first, the craziest story. I'm going to go right to you, Andrew, first. Okay. Andrew, let us know, tell us how the pre-fishing went, because I know you had a great pre-fishing time. I know you accidentally got into some fish, but let us know what happened day of, because this hurts my soul to hear this.
So yeah, pre-fishing was great. I got into a lot of big fish. I guess that would have been Friday. And I was up on the would be northwest end of the lake.
Are you cool if I bring it up?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll show you exactly where I was, where all of the fish were.
All right. I got it pulled up. Am I in the general area?
So you're going to go further to your left there. So if you see those bridges, zoom in there and go to the left of those bridges. Keep going. All right. So I think we passed it a little bit. So
I think it was right here. I believe you mentioned it was like right here, these humps, right?
Yeah, those humps right there. So you see there's that red icon there.
Yep.
So right along there, fishing in that, just on the edge of that channel is where all the fish were. So I had targeted that area just to go after some white perch for bait, and the perch were there, but so were the big fish. So I was actually dropping down to catch the perch, and I just threw a couple catfish rods out just to see what was there. And as soon as those baits hit the bottom, they were going over, and I had every time it was big fish. So I knew where they were. So on Saturday, I just went and chased bait all day and didn't have a whole lot of luck getting bait that day. Saturday, I actually got into a bunch of little blues. They were anywhere from 12 to 16 inches. As soon as I would drop down my little jigs for the white bass or the white perch, they would destroy it. And I probably pulled in 30 little bitty blues that day. Got back to the hotel Saturday night after the meetup, and at the hotel I was staying in, there's boat parking. So I backed my trailer in, and right behind where you park, there's a wall with outlets on it. Got my extension cord out, had my battery inside my box, plugged it in. So I plugged in my fish finder battery first, went to dinner, came back. It was full, swapped it around, plugged in my big battery. When I got up Sunday morning, somebody had unplugged my battery, and my bait cooler sits on my kayak. I have it strapped down on top of my kayak. Somebody pulled it off the kayak and dumped it out there in the parking lot. So I got up, had my trolling motor battery was almost completely dead, and all my bait was hot. I threw all my bait back in the cooler and said, screw it, let's just go hit the water. Got out on the water, was able to make one drag before my motor or the battery from my motor completely died. So at that point, I took my battery from my fish finder, hooked it to my motor so I can get back closer to the ramp. Went set on a ledge for several hours and wasn't able to catch anything over there.
Oh man, dude, that's a bummer. And I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the anglers will come up and talk to me. You know, some people will tell me exactly where they're fishing. I actually like when they tell me that, just as a safety issue, etc. But everyone knows, like, I'm not gonna say anything to the other anglers. But I knew for a fact you had everyone scared, because at our pre-check-in that Saturday night, everyone, unless there was some gamesmanship going on, everyone was claiming they were struggling on bait, struggling on big fish, struggling on everything. And you came strolling in, big smile, and you're like, I know exactly where they are. This is great. I'm loving life. And everyone else is like, Mike, you suck. Why do you have this on 100-degree weather, middle of the summer? We can't catch nothing. So you had
that spot's where I caught all my fish tournament day.
Oh, is that where? Okay, well, actually,
yep, the exact same spot. I was probably 200 yards on the other side on the Stanton channel instead of the Dan channel. Gotcha. So that's where I fished all morning.
Well, go ahead. Actually, Sean, we'll go right over to you. Timmy King just joined us, a local down there. But Sean, we'll move over to you next. Go ahead, talk about your pre-fishing experience. I believe you're a local from around there, and how'd your tournament day go?
Yeah, there's decent fish pre-fishing, but I didn't catch anything big. So I just went up to the last spot that I was catching fish and saw some bait and started fishing. And then about, I don't know, I caught 3 decent fish, and 10, 11 o'clock kicked up the pleasure boat traffic. And once that started there and I didn't have anywhere to run to, I pigeonholed myself out there in the main lake, and I'm looking around and there was no time for me to make a run or do anything else. So I just had to stick it out where I was. And couldn't find any more fish after like 10 o'clock.
So for people who aren't aware, Sean Fitzgibbon, I'll pull it back up really quick. Sean Fitzgibbons, let me go to tournament home. Well, I have it zoomed in. Sean ended up taking 4th place overall, and he took 4th place overall with 100 inches. He had a 34, a 33, and a 33-inch catfish. So let's go back to the view with everybody else. All right, very good. Timmy King just joined us. Tim, how'd your week go? I know you're a local down there too.
How y'all doing tonight? Sorry I'm late.
Oh, you're good.
It's been the fishing down here has been tough. I mean, most of y'all know I'm a local. I'm a guide down here, and the weather that has been coming, not just for us, but for the whole country, has been just nonstop up and downs, high pressures, low pressures, tons of rain. You know, this lake, you can see it fluctuate a couple feet in a day on an extreme measure. So trying to get a pattern on this fish has been very tough this year in general. This is probably one of the toughest years I've ever had to fish. So in saying that, I did what I thought was best and where I could hide from the sun, which would have been under a bridge. And that didn't work, so I had to make a big run. But the bite was pretty tough. I caught a fish right out the gate. Probably the first 5 minutes I got rods in the water, and then I lost one about 50 to 60 pounds right at the kayak, and then made a long run, pushed up in there and just kept on grinding, marked fish, and just drug back and forth, and worked this fish for about 2.5 to 3 hours, and picked one up here and there. Lost another 50 at the boat, and then old Justin Johnson sent me a little motivation. But you know what? I'd have to say though, to Ryan Borch came down here for like 8 or 9 days and put a lot of time in, and I'm not sure how much time you came in and put in, Justin, before, but I haven't been in the tournament in the kayak scene in a while, and I'll tell you what, it's a big change going from a 24-foot boat back to a kayak. The stress is there, the maneuvering and being able to land those fish and everything. Met a lot of great people, and I think you did a very well organized tournament, except for starting at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, and so everyone knows, every time we do these, I always open up to anglers. Hey, what do you want to see done better next year? What did I do wrong, etc. You don't have to tell me middle of summer, 8 o'clock. Those are already going to be changed. I promise. I'll take the L there. I might agree. However, again, advantage to Andrew. Andrew's like, wait, I'm coming down to 95-degree weather. This is great.
Yeah, we were just 111 the other day.
That's insane.
Well, as far as the fishing though, I mean, yeah, it was brutal hot. Don't get me wrong. But I think everybody at least hooked into a really nice fish, if not landing it. I think everybody had a pretty good fishing trip overall. This is a good time of the year to get on some tanks. I mean, the last 2 weeks I've put 4 fish over 60 in the boat. So it's a good time of the year to be here. It's just hot.
Yeah, it's just hot. I was looking at our fish I looked at the results for the boat tournament that happened the night before. Our guys competed just as well. Arguably, if you took the 3 biggest fish from some of our guys, it would have been right up there in the top 2 or 3 of the boat tournament. So that just goes to show how good the kayak anglers are getting on top of, not on top of, but considering our limited resources. We can only make a run so far. We can't, all that kind of stuff too. And yeah, with the weather, with everything that was going on, a lot of really good fish and scores were put up. The next person I'll go over to, and future sponsor of the scene, Adam Flegel. Adam's going to be sponsoring next year. Adam asked me if we were doing any kind of awards or trophies this year, and I just told him, and I said this in the beginning of the year, any money that I'm making that I can put into the scene, I'm putting towards prize money, because I just want the money to go in the anglers' pockets. I don't want to be spending any of my money on stuff that isn't paying out the anglers. So Adam, he's coming in next year. First, second, third professional plaques. There's going to be a trophy for the overall winner, point race winner, and he's doing a big fish plaque as well. So next year, we're going to have actual awards at the check-in afterwards. It's not just going to be, get together, hang out, talk. We're going to be giving out actual awards. So thank you, Adam. Adam, go ahead and plug your business as well.
So my company's name is Flegel Electric. and then me and my family. So I'm no stranger to tournament fishing, but this was my very first kayak tournament. I do fish off the kayak a lot, but this was the first time I competitively fished against anybody else in the kayak. So, having said that, I mean, I think I fished 44 tournaments last year in the big boat, but I really enjoy the kayak stuff. I intend to hit every one of them next year, and I think James that came with me is planning to attend all of them as well. Currently, we're sponsoring 5 different big boat tournament series here in the Midwest: Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri, Oklahoma. Some of them are Catfish Chasers is one of the biggest tournament series in the United States. They just gave away. So I passed up fishing for a 2024 Chevy Silverado they gave away in St. Joe, Missouri, so I could come out and fish with y'all.
That's awesome.
And so, I mean, I'm used to the Missouri River, and I've made several trips out to Alabama here in the last year. Sorry, I'm currently trying to pass a highway patrol, so I'm going to try not to do that. I did that this morning and got pulled over. So,
and for anybody wondering, he came down here for I'll cut you off here for 1 second while you get past that cop. He came up from Kansas. So on this stream alone, we have Kentucky, Texas, North Carolina or Virginia, Tennessee, North Carolina or Virginia. I always forget where you guys, because the lake is split. I always forget. And Kansas, all represented on this stream alone, who all competed up at this tournament, which is awesome. All right, Adam, go ahead. Keep talking. Are you there, or did I lose you?
Unsure that where I was pulling boards through was going to be productive. As soon as I turned the corner and got into the very first fish of the day was somewhere between 40 and 40.
Adam, I have to cut you off. Can you hear me, Adam? Can you hear me, Adam? All right, I'm gonna remove him from stream if he gets some better service. Let's move on. Okay. All right, Adam, if you're watching this, come on back. We'll get you back on. You were lacking service and it was just really choppy. So we're gonna move on. We'll do the champ last. But next up, we'll do Ryan. Ryan, how was your pre-fishing? How was the week? I know we camped together. It was a good time. If you want, I can bring up are you cool if I bring up where you fished and all that kind of stuff to walk people through it?
You can start out just north of our camp if you want to pull it up.
Here we are. We were down here. So this was our launch right here.
Yeah, if you want to start north of there, I started pre-fishing probably 6 or 8 miles from there.
Up. Okay, I got you. Like up in this general area?
Yeah, right in that, actually that right there. So you see that goes across that little cove right down to the bottom of that's where I pre-fished mostly.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I pre-fished across from our camp first, and that was no good. And then I went up and I hit that big long creek right there below, right at the bottom of your screen. And I started catching fish there as I was coming out of that creek. No, just up from the next creek up.
Next creek up? Okay.
Yep. Right there. So you see how it's got that hump in the middle of it?
Yeah.
So that actually came into play later in the week. I started catching my fish as I came over that hump. So it was like the fish were hanging out at the end of both of those points right there. And I actually hit another spot later in the week. I think I caught 6 fish on that point right there in an hour and a half that were 35 inches. In that 35, 36 inch range.
Mm-hmm.
So I had that spot in my pocket. And then the little spot up there right above that where you originally went.
Yeah.
I looked at that really hard, but it got dark on me. I looked at that really hard, and after I talked to a couple other guys that are locals there, I'm glad I didn't try to fish that. They said that will eat tackle. And
it looks like it would.
Yeah, it looks like a really good spot, but they said it will eat tackle. My plan was to drag crossways of that and put baits on each side of it. and try that. And I'm really glad I didn't get to try it now after I talked to them and they said that it was really full. It was full of stumps and all kinds of stuff in there. So I still think that spot would produce fish just because everywhere else I caught fish was on humps like that, just like Andrew said where his was.
Mm-hmm.
Then if you go on down to where we were camped at, I fished that whole thing on the back side of that bridge. Those three,
Yep.
the 3 fingers, I fished all that. I spent a day and a half pre-fishing all that, hoping to catch them in the back of that back creek. Just couldn't make it happen. I caught channel cats in there. I don't even think I caught one blue. It was full of shad for bait, but every time I tried shad for bait, that didn't really do me any good. So that was useless knowledge at that point. And then if you go over to the left of your screen there, right across from our launch is where I ended up catching my fish at, off those points.
Off the points, yep.
Yep. Every time I dragged across one of those points, I would catch fish. Every single time. And then the last fish I caught was actually on that point right there at the left side of your screen. Right there off that point.
Yep. Okay.
That was where my big fish came from, actually. And there was another angler, I won't say who until he says where he was fishing or not, that was fishing that area. And that's where he looked like he was starting his drags. So that's where I ended mine.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just trying to make sure. And I knew he was doing really well. So if he was doing well at the first of his drags, I was going to get on the ones he was missing. That's what I was hoping.
That's funny.
So what was even funnier was I was dragging and catching my fish going from left to right of that screen and couldn't catch them going the other way. I mean, I've done that several times, but I could not catch them going from, I guess it'd be east to west. I just couldn't buy by that direction. So I ended up just making a drag, starting over and making a drag, starting over and making a drag, and it ended up paying off. So white perch, I never got a decent fish on bluegill the whole weekend. I had white perch, and that's what paid off. So,
gotcha. Bait, real quick. Anyone in here who also struggled on bait? Raise your hand. Anyone else?
Yeah, every single minute that I was down there.
Yeah.
I spent more time chasing bait while I was down there than I did pre-fishing for 7 days.
Same. It probably irritated because I was camping down there with 4 of you guys. It probably irritated them because I was like jumping in the river swimming because I didn't have to compete, and they're all there sweating trying to catch bait.
Yeah.
and I'm jumping in the hole taking a swim.
Mike said, "Yeah, when you went to get back in your kayak, you said, 'Oh, somebody might have to help me to keep dumping all my stuff.' I'm like, 'You will float back to the ranch that way.'"
Yeah, that was funny. Like, there's no tip in that kayak. However, I put on a little weight, so to get in, I had to kind of lean it over, and a bunch of my stuff started sliding down. I thought I was going to slide it all off. All right, and then let's go on. Last but not least, we got the champ of this event. First time on one of the lives. The majority of everyone in our scene knows who he is. Let's pull him up. We got Ryan Bort's daddy, a.k.a. Justin Johnson, a.k.a. Kayak Catfish.
Thanks for addressing me by my real title, Ryan Bort's daddy.
Ryan Bort's daddy. Ryan Bort's named his kayak JJ's Money. So yeah, go ahead. I'll bring up the results.
Ryan cracked that kayak. That kayak tore up after he named it JJ's Money. So
yeah, because even JJ's money ain't worth having.
That's funny. That's funny. All right, JJ, take it away. Let us know when'd you go down? Your pre-fishing. How was bait? How give us. Am I allowed to bring up? I know where you fish. Am I allowed to bring it up?
Yeah. You can bring all right. It's all. Lord, the people over there that fish that lake, they can see my videos and know exactly where I'm at.
Gotcha.
So I don't hide any of that stuff.
All right. So I know you launched in the same area. Which way did you go after this? West or east?
I'm directionally challenged, but I went to the left of the boat.
Okay. All right. So you went.
JJ was the other angler. I was stopping where he was starting.
Gotcha. Okay. So you were in this general area. Okay. What were you doing? Yeah. Were you hitting ledges, being in the main channel? Let us know.
Yeah, I was kind of, on tournament day anyway, I was working that area to the left of the boat ramp, kind of back toward that bridge in the back, and really just trying to focus on the depth between 10 and 20 feet because that's where I'd got my best fish on my practice days. Like I went up there, I started fishing on Tuesday before the tournament, and I put in at that ramp on my first day because I didn't show up with any bait, and I knew it was going to be close to the check-in day. So I thought I'll start there, get some bait. But my plan was to really focus on the deeper depths up on the Virginia side of the lake, because that's kind of my comfort zone. I like fishing deep structure. But when I went up there on my practice days to hit those deeper depths, I couldn't catch diddly poo, man. I mean, there was just nothing happening at the deeper depths. And I was just like, well, I got to stick with what's working for tournament day. So my best fish, my best practice day had been that Tuesday, that first day right there in that particular area. And so I was just going up and down like a grid, just dragging back and forth, 2 rods up and down through there. And I finally, like Ryan had mentioned, I noticed I was getting all of my fish going one direction, which ironically was the opposite direction that Ryan had been getting his fish. But toward the end of the day, I just started focusing on that. But kind of limited bites overall, but good quality fish at just the faster speed. I mentioned that in the videos I put out, but I just normally, like here, if I'm trolling or dragging, I'm trying to go slow, 0.3, 0.5 miles an hour. Over there, I couldn't buy a bite at the slower speeds. It was the 0.7, 0.8 up to 1 mile an hour that I was getting bit, which kind of stumbled on accidentally because my practice day, the wind was blowing so bad, I finally just got tired of fighting and said, hell with it. I'm just going to let it push me at whatever speed that it goes. And I started getting bit at close to 1 mile an hour as it was gusting. So tested that theory out on the Friday before the tournament there and cranked my speed up to like 0.8 and started catching fish. So I was like, well, we're on to something here with this faster speed. So tournament day, I went out and was like, I'm just going to nail this area all day long, keep my speed cranked up, and well, it paid off. So hence the name Ryan Borch's daddy.
That actually, I'll ask everyone else too. That makes sense. So I accidentally stumbled that into the higher speeds as well. I normally like to drag around a 0.5 mile an hour. Ryan and I, on one of the pre-fishing days, were dragging right next to each other. He didn't have a drift sock, so the wind, he was set to 0.5, but the wind he was 100 yards in front of me in just a matter of a few minutes. He was catching fish left and right. And I'm like, what's your speed set to? I was getting so frustrated because we were doing the identical thing, identical rigs, identical bait, and I wasn't getting hit. And he was catching fish left and right. He said, I'm set to 0.5, but I don't have a drift sock. So he was going 0.7 to 1 mile an hour easy, and he nailed them. The moment we got around the bend into the wind that could help control our speed, neither of us caught nothing. And then every single cove we fished after that, we were able to control our speed because there wasn't that much wind. We barely caught anything. And then for me, tournament day as well, I stayed over 0.7, and that's when I caught the majority of my best fish. The only time I caught fish under 0.7 consistently was when I was night fishing, but that doesn't help the tournament day. You know what I mean? That doesn't help for tournament fishing. So
speaking of night fishing, if we would have started at 8 at night, that would have been okay. Because the pleasure boats aren't there at 9 o'clock at night.
Timmy King's doing a thumbs down. Did I mute you or did you?
I'm all thumbs down.
No, I've been muting it because my little boy's in here. We're in the camper doing this feed, and man, night fishing out here is tough. One, you've got a daggum boat tournament 3 weekends at the month, and I mean, just like anywhere else, they don't let up. They're gonna run 50 mile an hour up down the lake, and you're just like a normal log out here to them. But like, I mean, I just fished a big nighttime tournament the other day. We didn't get our first bite till 3:30 in the morning.
Ugh.
And the bugs were unbearable.
Yeah, the bugs were. So when I night fished, the bugs were terrible. They really were.
Yeah.
Those mayflies will carry you away in a kayak.
Yeah.
JJ, you embarrassed me, man. I got a lot of messages saying, what you doing letting Justin Johnson come down and beat you in the kayak? And I'm like, I mean, he does fish out of the kayak for a living. So, I mean, at least I lost to, somebody who puts just as much time in a kayak. And
it makes me feel good to you and Ryan. Tim. It does. It makes me feel good on the inside to beat a fishing guide.
Well, you know what? You deserved it. And I tell you what, though, as much time as you and Ryan put in the kayaks, y'all definitely deserve the win. And I'm not mad about it one bit. I'm just glad Sean didn't beat me because I never would have heard the end of that.
That's right.
I don't know if I actually went over the overall results yet, but I'll flash by those really quick. JJ, our winner, 118. Ryan Bortz was second at 113 inches. Timmy King, 111. Sean Fitzgibbon, 100. And then we got Chris Minahan, Mark Bennett, John Ratliff, Brennan Hunter, Adam Flegel, who's with us, and James Fowler. Real quick, we'll go over the payouts. So at 16 people, first place won $2,750. Second was $1,250. Third was $750. Fourth was $350. And then if you move over here, we added 320 to our overall point race pot, and Big Fish was 900. So Kayak Catfish's payday ended up being $3,650. In our world, I believe this is the first trail that's had like pre-sponsored money. So, and another thing in our world, there's no upkeep on anything we do. There's little upkeep on everything we do. There's no replacement costs. There's no gas costs. We're not sending our things to the shop. So you can get a fully rigged out kayak for about $3,600. So our payouts, like they're very, and another thing, somebody asked me about making the payouts more like 300, 400. I'm not opposed to raising it a little. It was somebody from the big boat world, but I explained to him, like, if you think about it, we are actually at the same level they are, because they do $300, $400 entries, but they always have 2 or 3 people on the boat. Well, if you divide that, then it's about $150 a person. So we're essentially at the same exact entry level as the big boat world, being only at $150. So I'm going to open it up. Anybody, the payouts, we'll go over things that you guys would like to see improved in the future. Adam, we'll start with you. Anything you want to see improved in the future? An event like this, was there something you disliked over the other? I try and get some feedback on things that I can improve going forward from anglers who join the lives.
I think everything went real good. Using the musky bumpers was a little bit challenging for us. Like Timmy would show me the whole board. You know, about half of the fish that I caught, getting them to look down and relax. The first fish of the morning I caught was right around 43 inches. I Snapchatted him and I videoed him, and he went right out the side before I could find my identifier. And I still got him back because he was on a leash, and it is what it is. But no, I think everything went real well. I'm excited to be in Indiana next month. Looking forward to everything. So I like this. I like the fact that you touch on stuff beforehand and you make sure everybody's got the same information. So unlike the big boat tournaments, that usually doesn't happen. Like I said, this was my first kayak tournament. I had a good time. My last 2 fish that I submitted, I had the wrong orientation. They were both really
that was you?
Yeah, that was me.
Oh.
So with the first fish that I videoed, but I didn't get photographed, with that big fish, I think JJ still would have had big fish, but mine was right there. And the last 2 that I submitted were really good upgrades for me, but they got kicked out because of the wrong orientation. I would have been right behind JJ if those 3 things didn't happen.
Oh, man.
And even without the first fish, I would have been, I think, second or third, right around those guys. But I really did have a great time. Bait was tough. I normally bring a bunch of bait with me, and I just decided we're coming early enough. We'll have no problem catching bait, but that wasn't the case. So all the time we were going to use to scan and scout and pre-fish, I decided we got to have bait going into tournament day. So, but like JJ, I caught all of my fish between 10 and 20 feet, and I normally pull boards at 0.7 to 1. So that was no change for me. As soon as I hit 20 feet and less, we started catching fish. So, it was kind of a consensus through everybody that I'm hearing that similar depth, similar speed. And I had shad that we brought from Kansas, and I caught a few fish on those. My big fish came on about a 16-inch gizzard shad head, and everything else like white perch.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you. What I'm going to start doing, this will be the last question for every angler. As I hit you, I'm going to toss you off the screen, and then by the time I'm at the last angler, we'll call it a day after that. So, Adam, again, thank you for sponsoring next year. I'll hit you up. We'll talk about what's going to happen from both sides, and I can't wait to see you at Rising Sun. If you have any questions about the area, hotels, and stuff, let me know. I'll let you know.
Sounds good. I will.
All right. See you, bud.
Yep. Bye.
All right. Next up, Andrew. We haven't talked to you in a while. All right, Andrew. Improvements. Anything you want? Talk about. Maybe you want another tournament next year somewhere else. Maybe more local to you. So yeah, let us know. Let's know.
Yeah. So, first off, I think you're doing a great job with this series. I've been at every tournament, and they've all ran really smoothly. Yeah, I mean, you definitely need to bring one down here. There's a lot of people down here that fish for catfish from a kayak that would definitely be interested. I want to talk briefly about the sponsorship. So I did notice that you had agreed to toss in up to $2,000 to the pot to match what the sponsors had done.
Mhm.
And I saw we were $300 shy of that, so I said that couldn't happen. I almost called you out in the live right before the tournament, but I decided to message you afterwards, and I threw in 300 so that you could throw in your full 2,000. So I didn't want you to leave money on the table for us.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that money, I'm just glad that money ended up not going all to Ryan. I'm glad it got split up amongst more anglers than just him.
Yeah.
That's funny. Hey, thank you, Andrew. Guys who are watching this, we are going to Texas next year. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. It's gonna. I think I'm gonna name it like the Andrew Green Invitational, something along those lines. The fact that this guy's coming from Texas every single week or every single month, and not only doing that, competing at a very high level every single time he comes. So, Andrew, I can't thank you enough for joining us. I'm gonna pop you out of the chat, and then we're gonna move on over to Sean next. All right.
All right.
All right. See you, bud.
Thank you.
All right, Sean. Let us know. How'd it go?
It was awesome. Keep the entry fees the same. I'm broke. I had to borrow $20 from Tim just to get into the tournament. So, no, thanks for answering the phone every time I made a bonehead move. That was the only second time fishing in that kayak. So I was still trying to figure everything out, and I was figuring out how to measure the fish in it and taking pictures and all. I was goofing stuff up left and right, and I'd probably called you 3 or 4 times, but.
Oh, that wasn't me. Oh, there he is. Okay. All right, there you popped off for a second there. All right.
Oh, yeah, sorry. What part did I leave off at?
You called me 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, thanks for answering the phone. That was awesome. Walked me through everything I needed to do with that, and no, it was awesome. It was a good tournament. I liked it.
That's awesome. I'm glad. I was glad to see a handful of you North Carolina or Carolina guys come up, so we could showcase, how we run things too. Next year, I'm not going to let the complete cat out of the bag, but there'll be a little bit of a joint effort going on the Kerr Lake event next year. So that's a little teaser, but there'll be more to come with that in the future. So I'm looking forward to coming back down there next year. We won't be doing it in August, though. Even though, like Tim said, there's probably good fish to be caught. I don't want to be sweating that much. So
hey, do it in January, like with there's a bunch of tournaments. I don't know. Do it in the winter. That'd be fun.
Look at Tim.
Do it with the ice bowl.
The ice bowl. Oh man.
No, not in the kayak.
No. We're gonna stay warm in the winter next year, and we're gonna come up north in summer. So, Sean, thank you for joining us. We're gonna pop over to Timmy King now. Let me pop you off the screen. All right. See you later, Sean.
See you, man.
All right, Timmy. Let me have it.
Guys,
First time you and I fish with each other. Let's go.
I've been battling a little 3-year-old over here in the camper. As everybody says, Mike, you put on a great tournament. You're very informative and keeping everybody up to date on everything going on. I wouldn't mind seeing a $200 entry fee. Now, for me, unfortunately, I'm not able to attend most of the events. Stop, dude! Before you get on the chair. I'm not available to attend most of the events. I would love to see some more, maybe out here towards the East Coast, a little bit closer, maybe like South Carolina or maybe even on the James River. That would be convenient for me. I know Ryan's just loving that. But no, overall, I'm very, very pleased with what you've put on. I think moving forward we could probably do something more for some more sponsorships and getting you some more money towards the pot. And I like what you're doing. And just no August at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, we won't do that again. I promise. I promise. I took it on the shins pretty hard from some anglers all week about that. The only person who didn't give me hell was Andrew.
I mean, I never got sunburned because I had my big sombrero and I was hiding underneath it all day like this. So, I mean, but no, good tournament. And once again, congratulations to Justin and Ryan. Y'all put a whole lot into it. And I really miss the kayak scene, but unfortunately, it's not really on my cards right now.
Mm-hmm.
And but I'm gonna jump in there whenever I can.
Awesome. Hey Tim, thank you for
Timothy. Whenever you jump in there, be ready for that picture. I'm going to send you of my, you know what, on the measuring board.
I think we should just make it a monthly thing.
If somebody could send me the picture of you guys at the end holding each other's hands up, just go on the Facebook Messenger and send it to me. I thought I had it. I can't find it.
I haven't even made a post or anything yet.
You have it? Gotcha.
No, I've just been so busy, and especially this little guy right here. But no, I hadn't even made a post or anything yet. But yeah, I definitely want to get hold of that picture, and looking forward to seeing y'all again, man. I hate that it's like every 2 or 3 years before I get to see everybody.
I feel you. Oh, hold on. I found the picture.
It should be on my profile.
Yep, it is. While Tim and Ryan are still here together, I wanted to make sure that everyone saw this. Hold on. Oh, I know this hurts Ryan and Tim's soul.
You know what though? The crazy thing is, like, nothing ever really like bothers me, but it does kind of bother me. I lost my home leg. Not even gonna lie, it stings a little bit. I cannot tell you how many messages and phone calls I got. It was like, man, I can't believe you. And I'm like, man, hop your big butt in a daggone kayak after fishing in a boat every single day. It's tough.
Yeah.
I forgot the challenges. I mean, really, it's a whole lot going on.
And the competition, man. It's not like you were just fishing against some weekend warriors. Like,
yeah,
they're good. Like, you guys are really good.
And there's things that I want to say this too. There's probably people here watching who are not in kayaks or fishing in boats, and I'm gonna tell y'all, I've seen firsthand and can prove it that your kayak fishing is going to advance you as an angler. And not only that, when you're fishing off of a kayak, you have a much smaller footprint, and those fish do not spook as easily. And you're able to get on and stalk fish that you cannot do in a boat. And I say that with bold letters. You cannot do that in a boat. And so if some of y'all are on the fence on getting into the kayak scene, I strongly suggest you doing it, because although it does have its challenges, it's a lot of rewards there.
Hey, if they're on the fence about getting into it, hit me up. I got 2 for sale.
Yeah, but they got holes in them.
Oh no, they're actually my old kayaks.
Yeah.
You tried to sell my old kayaks. Oh yeah, shameless plug. If anybody wants a Jackson Nar or a Jackson Big Rig, I got them for sale. I need to pay for all these other things I'm getting. After this live stream, I'm going to pick up my 24-volt motor. Once this guy got his, I got the Jealous Goo, and I immediately bought one. I was like, nope, I can't be out there getting smoked by him anymore like this. So, all right, Tim, thank you so much for joining. I'm gonna kick you out of here.
We'll catch you later.
Will do. See you, buddy.
See you.
Ryan, I normally do you last, but I'm doing JJ last this time. So Ryan,
the main events here. But
main events last.
I'm not the most important guy in the stream anymore.
Nope, not when JJ's
Were
here.
you ever?
Yeah,
I quit.
Yeah. Ryan, sound us off. How was the rest of the experience? What do you want to see? Now's the time to be serious with your ribbing of me, not just calling me short and fat.
No, I mean, like, for real, like, after I saw what you and Mark did out night fishing versus what we had done day fishing, and I mean, I know we're all three doing the same thing, so I do want to see a night tournament on Kerr. But JJ's not going to want to do it, for one, because he don't like fishing at night. because he's the queen of catfish. And he,
I can't get anybody to watch a night video. I'd love to be out there, but if they ain't gonna watch, then, what's the point?
But I would like to see that. I mean, it would have been more comfortable sitting out there at night at least. And I do know the bite was better at night, at least a couple nights before the tournament. Other than that, I think it went as well as it could have, other than JJ beat me. I mean,
That's the best part. What are you talking about?
I had to go get some stuff from one of my sponsors today. I won't put the name out there, but they threatened making me pay for my stuff since JJ beat me this last tournament.
That's funny. That's funny.
But no, I had a blast. I mean, even just like JJ, I mean, we talk a lot of crap, but we all sat around and ate one night and sat around for like 5 hours, and I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, the hanging out, having fun, giving each other crap. That's the real fun part of all this. I mean, I like making some money, but JJ was there and took it. So,
and I'm gonna touch on that real quick before we go to JJ. That's something that's kind of unique with us, that we do get a little hate for in the outside competition world, but it's very vital to the kayak world, I believe. So in the boating world, some people get openly upset that all of our anglers are talking to each other leading up to the tournament. They're telling each other where bait is. They're telling each other where they're catching fish, where they're not catching fish. So there's a few things with that. It's camaraderie. It's safety. There's in the big boat world, it's actually against the rules to share information. There's no way I could make that ruling in our world because of the safety factor. If you force people to split up, well, you're putting people in kayaks on big bodies of water. You're putting them at risk. So we can never have that. But let's face it. In the boat world, they're all talking to each other anyway. So they get mad that all of our anglers we openly talk about it on these live streams. We don't care. We're trying to help everybody. The boat guys get mad that we do that, even though they're doing the same thing. They're just doing it privately. They're not coming out and doing it openly.
They're doing it in cliques.
Yeah, they're doing it.
And that they share with each other.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like I feel like we're breaking that barrier a little bit, and the more we get out there, the more people see how much fun we have. Like, don't get me wrong, the competition is cutthroat. Like, if you guys think these guys are going out and like handing each other rods and holding each other's hands, that's not happening. The competition part is cutthroat. Like, that's real.
Chris me in a hand, and I hold his hand a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, yeah, Chris needs his hand held a lot. But I think we are breaking a little bit of barrier there, where we are, but we aren't necessarily helping each other, and us being more open and vocal about it. I think that's going to grow the sport faster than it is anything else. Because if you want to grow a sport, you need to be open. Everyone needs to catch fish. If somebody comes into, if someone comes in and fishes these tournaments and doesn't catch anything 3 tournaments in a row, they're never going to come back. You know what I mean? So, and we're at the point now where we still need to grow those numbers. So I really appreciate I really do appreciate how cool everyone's been in these tournaments. And it's never anyone in our world. It's never anyone in our world complaining. That's the beauty of it too. We might get a little heat from the outside world. Never anyone in our world. Our world, we want to see everyone catch fish and everyone have a good time. So I'm gonna get off that little soapbox there. When you brought that up, that struck a little bit of a nerve / soft spot in my heart, because I love all you guys, and yeah, we have a really good thing going on. But the mushy, gross stuff out of here. Ryan, I'm kicking you off the stream. I'll be seeing you around a little bit. See you later, Ryan. And last but not least, the champ, JJ.
Ryan Bortz's daddy, right here.
Ryan Bortz's daddy. Ryan Bortz's daddy. Get us out of here. Let us know. You've done tournaments in the past. You've been at every single one of these tournaments. You're risking, and what a lot of people don't see the behind the scenes. These anglers that have sponsors, I try and work around their other sponsors. These anglers that have, they make money off of fishing, etc. It's very important to me that I don't step on anyone's toes. Like, for instance, this past tournament, we had an optional sticker to put on your bump board, the Minotaur hooks. There are some people who are sponsored by Nocturnal Nation and other companies. They asked, do I have to put the sticker on? I said, no, I'm not going to force conflicting things on people like that. And in turn, anglers have been much more willing to randomly post about us. And when they post about us, they do in turn technically advertise for those other companies, because when they post about us, people come to our scene and they get to see it. JJ's putting a lot on the line doing these tournaments. He's kind of in a lose situation, and he can't really come out and say it because, you know, he might come off as like not a crybaby, but like he fishes full time for a living. So if he doesn't win, some people might give him hate. If he doesn't do well, he can't put a video up. Therefore, he's not making money. That's just a fact. That's just business. So it means a lot to me to make sure and know that you're also doing well on the business side as well. So if you wouldn't mind, like maybe touch on how are your videos doing as well in these tournaments? Like, are they producing? Are they making your time worth it? Because in the long run, it would be nice to have more people living off of this kind of stuff. So it would be cool to get it on record that you can do this and still not have it affect you financially, etc. So go ahead, take it from here.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, for me, when I'm traveling somewhere to go fishing for these tournaments, I have to look at it like a business trip, because it is. I have to get content while I'm there, because that's ultimately what's allowing me to do this. It's not like I got a regular job and I can just take some vacation days, still draw a check. I don't get any content. I'm not getting paid. So that's very important to me. But fortunately, so far, at least my audience, that's, you know, regular viewers and stuff, it's really helped me, I think, with them, for me to go other places. They seem to enjoy seeing different scenery, different places. You know, I have big followings up there in Ohio, for instance, and us having 2 tournaments up there, those videos did really well for me. I think people were genuinely excited to see me go fish places like that. So from financial perspective, you know, it's nice to cover the expenses of the trips just on videos and not have to worry about the doing well in the tournament per se. Because, I mean, let's be real. I mean, the tournament scene, I don't care if it's kayak or even the catfish boating world, nobody's making a living, at least to my knowledge, nobody's professionally tournament fishing in the catfish world, at least not yet to my knowledge. They might get a big payday in a certain tournament, $50,000 payout, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know anybody that's like traveling around like the professional bass fishermen or the bass master, those guys. So, but fortunately, with the way social media works today, you don't have to depend on tournaments. Anybody, I mean, I'm a nobody from a small town most of you've never heard of. If I can get on social media and create a following and earn a living doing this, literally anybody can do it. Everybody has a cell phone, a camera, access to the internet these days. And so if you just put the time and the work in, it's possible. So these tournaments, more than anything, though, aside from, it's nice to turn a profit and continue running the business of the tournaments, but I keep showing up because they're fun. I mean, I could go travel anywhere I want at my own convenience and make videos there. I choose to do the tournaments because they're fun. I like you. I think you've done a great job running the scene. I love the fact that, like you mentioned there, the camaraderie. I can't get my words.
I can't say that word ever either. It's the only word that makes sense.
It's too many syllables for my southern twang here. Camaraderie amongst people. It's great. Like Ryan was saying there, it's part of the fun. Me and Ryan talking smack all week long. I mean, you would think we hate each other if you saw access to our messages behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Like Timothy King, I mean, he's the fishing guide up there. You better believe I was riding his ass over. I sent him a picture of my middle finger midway through the tournament on my measuring board because I was ahead of him, That kind of stuff's fun. And, you just don't get that in a lot of the tournament worlds. That's why I don't like the catfish boating world tournament scene, because it's too damn competitive. And for what? I mean, like I said, ain't none of those guys making a living doing it. So why can't you go out and share information on bait and enjoy each other's company while you're there? It don't have to be cutthroat. It can be cutthroat on tournament day. Everybody wants to win that's in tournament. But leading up to that, you can have fun. You can have a good time. And like I said, you build a following on social media. You can go out and make it to where you don't have to depend on the tournaments there to make a living doing it. So I think you've done a phenomenal job with these tournaments. The fact that you've been able to raise so much money in the early stages of this. I mean, I think 3 years from now, 5 years from now, we're not going to have a tournament that has less than, like Sandusky, we had 30-something people. That will be a bare minimum 3 years, 5 years from now. But your ability to raise all this money now before we get to that point, it's very impressive. And, it does make it worthwhile for the guys who are traveling a few hours. They've taken some vacation days. They cash in one of your tournaments, first, second place. They're turned a profit. Whereas these guys traveling in boats, that's got to get hotel, they got to pay gas and fuel and all that. Like a lot of those guys can win a tournament, not even break even, depending on the tournament and expenses and all that. Whereas our scene, there's a good chance that no matter what background, what state they've come from, they win, they're going home having turned a profit. So I think you've done a real good job. I wouldn't change. There's nothing I could point out to say to change. I mean, even the Kerr Lake tournament here, the conditions sucked. It was not ideal being so damn hot, but we're all battling under the same thing. So it's not like somebody has an advantage or one way or the other over it.
Mm-hmm. And
I know these guys are big on the night tournaments. I'm not, because again, I want to film wherever I'm at, so I can't get anybody to watch a night video.
Yeah,
so that's why I don't want to do that.
I don't necessarily want to host a night one. Insurance doesn't cost any more, but it's just, as a director, I just feel like I'm opening myself up to something bad happening. And it's not honestly, it's not the kayakers I'm worried about. It's the public, and it's not even the other catfishermen I'm worried about. It's the general, drunk guy out there on a pleasure boat, doesn't see a kayaker, or worst case scenario, a kayaker lights go out. You know what I mean? While they're fishing and they get hit because they're not seen. You know what I mean? So I think there's too much risk to reward to host, unless we did something like on Hoover, but that's a different animal completely. But even then, I think the fishing's better on Hoover during the day, so it wouldn't really make sense. Future guys that are watching this, let's say someone's watching this like, oh, I don't like how much they're talking. Guys, you don't have to hang out with everybody. You know what I mean? We're bragging about that because our scene's like a brotherhood right now. But if it's discouraging you to like thinking like, oh, you have to be part of the inner circle, I guess you could say, of the guys fishing. If you want to take this cutthroat, you can show up, not talk to no one ever, do check in and go fish. You're perfectly fine. That's one narrative. I don't necessarily want everyone thinking they have to be as cordial as us, but it is part of the fun. I'm not gonna lie.
Tell you though. Let me tell you this, Mike. If they show up being a dick, check in and stuff, and I beat them, it's gonna make it that much more satisfying.
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah. If you show up and you're a little too mean and you get beat, that is one thing with these guys. They are professional trash talkers. They are professional trash talkers. And hey, I'll give them credit. Sometimes when they show up and they get beat, they stay at the checkout. Like when Ryan had to walk with his tail between his legs at Hoover, he stayed there and took his lumps from everybody. So
he sure did.
Yep.
But on this too, Mike, like you mentioned, the new people showing up and stuff. Like if you are brand new out there and you're not comfortable catfishing, maybe you're new to kayak fishing or the term, whatever, you could show up, and even though we're all people that's fishing now, we all kind of know each other, we're friends and stuff, nobody's going to not tell you. Like if you need information on bait or boat ramps or whatever, when you show up to tournament, check in there, that little pre-meeting, everybody, all you got to do is ask. People are going to be forthcoming with information, but nobody's going to just snub their nose at you.
So this has been 100% across the board. Every single brand new person who has fished one of these events has all walked away. Hey, this is great. I showed up knowing nothing. I knew where to get bait. I knew where to potentially fish on tournament day because the people at check-in were there to help. Like that's unheard of. And it's been every single brand new person. There's been some people with like brand new kayaks that have showed up at our tournaments this year, and they've barely fished and they walk away with all this extra knowledge. So if you're brand new to the kayak catfishing scene, even if you don't want to compete, even if you just want to come meet the guys that are competing and you want to learn, just show up at one of our check-ins and just chat and talk. You'll learn so much from these guys just by showing up. Now, I want you to compete. I'd rather you compete because it's better for us. But like if you're interested in kayak catfishing and our next tournament's at Rising Sun, it's actually alongside a boat tournament. That's going to be cool. We're going to have our series finale, our standings and stuff. We're gonna have our awards on their main stage, one of the biggest and oldest national catfishing tournaments in the boat world. We're gonna have our awards right alongside them, which I think that's really cool. That's unheard of. I don't think any fishing, and I could be wrong again, I don't think any fishing has had that happen where a boat event and a kayak event came together and had their award ceremonies and everything at the same time. I think we're breaking that boundary down too, which is really cool. And shout out to Stephen Hannon, Rising Sun Tournament Director, for allowing us to do that this year. I'm very grateful for that, and all the other tournament directors that allowed us to tag along. Joe Hatfield at Hoover, the guys who did the meet and greet, the gathering down in Tennessee. We kind of tag teamed that by coincidence, but we did kind of tag team that, so that was really cool. But yeah, I don't have much more to say. I'm excited. I'm actually going to be heading out here to go get my 24 volt that I'm trying to convince you to buy.
No, it ain't. Listen, you guys have talked me into enough crap. I'm already taking $250 loss on that crap y'all talked me into.
Ryan has talked you into enough stuff. I won't shill anything. I will only talk about stuff that I have tried out for a few hundred hours. Ryan, though, will sell you on something that he's never even seen before.
Well, he's lost all credibility with me, damn it.
That's awesome. Well, dude, I can't thank you enough. I look forward to seeing you at Rising Sun. Any questions along the way, hit me up. And yeah, we'll call it quits here.
All right, man. Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Thank you. See you, bud.
See you.